Good evening, gentlemen of the press, the governor and the deputy governor of Lagos State. Gentlemen.
And sorry that I'd had to keep you waiting. I was just coming out from another NEC meeting, which is National Economic Council meeting in Abuja. There was a NEC subcommittee. So I'm here to address us on the current situation and the state with regards to the ongoing NSAS protests and agitation for a comprehensive police reform. I will also be providing an update along the line on where we are with COVID-19. As a government, we have engaged the protestants. The deputy and I have met with them on a numerous occasion. We had listened to their concerns and agitation. We are both physically present at the Lekki Toll Plaza and also at the Alausa, the seat of government, where you saw the scenes. And we spoke to our teeming youth in order to calm them down and assure them that their grievances have been heard and it will be addressed. Gentlemen of the press, we do feel the pains and we share the clamor for far-reaching police reforms, for our police that serves and protects the people of Lagos and Nigeria in general. Nigerian development aspiration will not be achieved without a responsive and an ethical police force. I have, as promised, discussed the 5-point demand with Mr. President, whom I'm sure you all saw that I visited 2 days ago, and also the Inspector General of Police on that same visit 2 days ago. One of the things you would ask for is the release of all protestants. I assure you that even as we stand here today, we have released every single protestant that has been in or in police detention. And if you know anyone that we haven't released, please, we have the opportunity again to mention the place, mention the name, and let's know where they are so that we can get them released. I'm also pleased to confirm to you that all the other demands that I've put forward with Mr. President and the IG, they've gone ahead to say we should implement. And like I did mention a few minutes ago, we had a NEC meeting earlier today, and we had also a NEC subcommittee, which was headed by the Vice President, in which they are still there. But because gentlemen of the press have kept you here, I needed to take an excuse and come and meet with you. So arising from that NEC subcommittee is that all governors will take some of the decisions locally in terms of implementing the 5 points that have been stated, in the demands for the NSAS. And so for us in Lagos, this evening, we are setting up a panel of inquiry and restitution for victims of SARS that have related abuses in Lagos State. This 7-man panel will ensure that all with verifiable cases of SARS brutality or fatality for that matter receive justice not only by ensuring that compensations are paid to them, but justice in terms of prosecution, if need be, will be meted out to people that are found wanting. It's the same model that NEC has advised that all states take. So, but I'm pushing it because I'm ready to make those pronouncements. So that panel today that we're constituting will be headed by a retired judge in Lagos State, Honorable Justice Doris Okuobi. Other members of that panel will include Mr. Ebun Adegburua, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, who is representing the civil society, retired Deputy Inspector General of Police, Taiwo Lakano, Ms. Patience Udo, who is also representing the civil society, Mr. Shegun Awosonya, who is a known human rights activist, Mrs. Odesonya, who is our Director, Civil Litigation in our Mediation Center, Odusonya rather. We've also created a slot for the youth to also still send a nominee, because all our interactions with them is that there is no agreed or known leader. So there is still a slot that is left for the youth in any form. We don't know how they're going to come about, but we are still, they have a room to still send a nominee into this panel. And finally, we also expect that we'll get a representative of Human Rights Commission into this panel. Like I did mention 2 days ago, the state government has also set aside a 200 million naira fund to be utilized by this panel. So once determinations are made as into what amount of compensation that needs to be paid, the funds are available, and this panel would have sufficient power to be able to disburse on these funds as at when due. We'll also be setting up a call center, like an help desk for the panel now and going forward. This panel will have a 6 months assignment at the first instance, a 6 months assignment at the first instance, and the details of their terms of reference will be signed out by the Attorney General. So we'll be setting out their numbers. There are 3 numbers that we've identified for them, and from Monday, those numbers will go live. It's 0901 051 3203, 0901 051 3204, and 0901 051 3205. So these are 3 numbers ending with 3203, 3204, and 3205. I'm aware that the numbers are live now, but because the panel is not sitting yet, so they don't have the opportunity to pick the calls now. Also to mention that Lagos State is taking the issue of police misconduct very, very seriously. Earlier this week, we all recorded an incident that happened at the Area C Command in Surulere. All the 4 erring officers, whose names I will also mention, have also been apprehended, and they are going through an orderly room trial. It's currently being conducted on them. They are Inspector Bogu Michael, Inspector Epodom Etop, Sergeant Namdi Majura, Sergeant Akinyele Benson. All the 4 officers have been identified, and like I said, they are going through an orderly room trial as we speak. Let me also address an issue that also happened this morning, and all of you gentlemen of press saw it. We condemn with the greatest energy that we have as a government any form of thuggery, any form of assault, any form of intimidation on the Protestants. They have the rights and they have the constitutional means. For as long as they're peaceful, we do not have a problem with that. And so we want to unequivocally say, and I've said so in my handle, that the government know nothing about it. We do not sponsor any form of thuggery, or we do not sponsor any form of unrest. And I'm sure gentlemen of the press have seen and have confirmed since that the BRT bus that was supposedly alleged that transported thugs into the place was a normal scheduled bus that had passengers inside of them, and unfortunately, the driver is right behind me here, and in which you can also ask questions from. He froze when he saw the crowd. And you could see, if you review the video very, very well, that the passengers in the bus were frightened, and they were all still in the bus throughout the episode of the incident that happened. So there is no iota of truth that the state government used any of his buses or any of the state machinery, for that matter, to have fomented any form of thuggery or misbehavior in and around Alausa this morning. And I'm sure all of you have since reviewed the footage of that incident, and it is totally condemnable, and we've instructed the Nigerian police to fish out the perpetrators, because we also can match the names, the pictures, and we've handed over these pictures to the Nigerian police to see if they can identify these perpetrators for us as soon as possible. Let me also now directly address our protestants who have taken the message to the street to agitate for a change and reform of the police. I believe it's time to ask you to acknowledge the progress, the very modest progress that Lagos State is making. We know clearly that because the protest has not been isolated in any particular location in the state, it's been very, very difficult for our citizens, for our law-abiding citizens, to be able to commune to either their workplaces or to meet their families or to do other things within the state. We've also seen incidents of medical evacuation that has been restrictive. And I dare say, because we have the records, that we've actually recorded about 2 fatalities of people who were not able to receive medical attention or were unable to get to hospitals in the last 48 hours. And so I want to plead and plead again that we have listened and your voices have been heard. Your protest has been just. Your voices have been heard everywhere, not only in the state, not only in the nation, but globally. And as leaders that you all are today, because you've since corrected me, and as leaders as you all are today, I think it is time to actually take up that leadership position, knowing fully well that out of 5 things you've enumerated, 3 we have done clearly. And you stated that the remaining 2, you know you will not get a solution today. We agree and will support the increment in the welfare and remuneration of the police force. It was discussed with Mr. President, and the IG had started working on it. But like I said, it's a budgetary process that has a time to evolve. The process of changing and amending the act of setting up the police is also a process. It's not something that can happen overnight. But the ones that are within our means, from today, we have actually accepted and agreed and implemented them in clear directives. Names have been mentioned, panels have been set up, amounts have been mentioned. And so I want to appeal to our teeming youth. You've shown leadership, you've shown courage. It's time for us to move on. It's time for us to let us also do our job. As I conclude, it's important for me to also mention that in the past 3 days, we're beginning to see an increase in the positivity rate with COVID-19. And it's real. It's still with us. It's still amongst us. Protestants might have the ability to be asymptomatic. How about their parents? How about their grandparents? We have seen the second wave of COVID-19 happening almost everywhere in the world. We cannot claim that we're immune to a second wave. Just about the time when we're opening up the economy, it would be unfair for Lagos, that is the epicenter, to go back there again. And science has explained to us that for as long as we're seeing the positivity go up again, is also a bad signal for us. And so, gentlemen of the press, I want you leaving from here to appeal with you once again and to see the sincerity of our modest attempt at ensuring that we bring about an end as quickly as possible to this lawful process that we have seen in Lagos in the past 10 days now. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press.